This is Inside the BFA, the official podcast of the Balloon Federation of America. Each episode of Inside the BFA is an open discussion of the many aspects of the sport of ballooning and the BFA's work to represent its members and the ballooning community at large. Now, here's your host, editor of the BFA's Ballooning Journal, Glenn Moyer.
For that, says my mic is muted. Is that correct? No, I don't think so. Somebody tell me in the private chat if you can hear me okay. Anyway, apologies. This is live, and as you can tell, we had some technical gremlins get into the system as we tried to get started, so apologies for the few minutes late getting going, but nevertheless, here we go. Glad to have you all gathering with us this evening. We're going to be talking about one of the most exciting segments of the ballooning sport that's come around in several years, and that's going to be model ballooning, RC ballooning, remote control, radio control, whatever the term is you'd like to use. We'll figure out what they like to use, if there's a preference, but it is one of the fastest growing, without question, elements of our sport. I'm very pleased to say it's not entirely new to Ballooning Magazine. In fact, I have a whole list of questions. We have some great guests coming up, but I wanted to point out very quickly that for some good reference materials, I would reference you back to Ballooning Magazine in July, August, and September, October of 2020. Back then, 5 years ago, we ran a two-part series called Construction in Isolation, and it was all about building a model balloon. And some of my guests were the folks who were participating in that series. And then as recently as just this past September, we had an article again, written by one of our guests tonight, talking about the sport of ballooning, model ballooning. And so it's something that we've been paying attention to within the magazine for quite some time. We're here tonight to specifically talk about model ballooning because the BFA and model balloonists have now come together, and there's a new initiative to create a model ballooning group within the Balloon Federation of America. And so that's the primary reason for us here discussing this tonight. As you can tell, I'm not doing that well live tonight either. My apologies. Let me introduce some of the guests. Let's get the thing rolling and talk with people who know what they're talking about and hopefully can speak a little better than I can tonight. First of all, my first guest is Karen Wells. Karen, many of you may know, is the owner of Wells Balloons. She is a model balloon enthusiast who explores the technical side of model hot air balloon design and performance. I think it's also fair to say that she is a model balloon builder. She is a past president of the Quad A in Albuquerque. She's been an assistant director and staff at multiple BFA youth camps. And I think she's very proud to say she is the crew chief for her top competitor husband and Balloon Fiesta champion, Mr. Zarek Wells. So Karen, thank you for being here tonight. My next guest will pop up together, Ryan and Carlette Ahrens. Ryan entered ballooning in the 1990s, originally as a crew person for ride balloons out at Balloon Fiesta. Later, he joined the scoring team there. He discovered model ballooning as they became a feature in Balloon Fiesta over the past few years. It wasn't long that he soon thereafter purchased an RC system with his wife and became an RC pilot. And his wife is the lovely Carlette Ahrens, who is also with us this evening. Hi, Carlette. Her first exposure to ballooning was at Balloon Fiesta in 2019. And it wasn't long after that she joined husband Ryan on the Balloon Fiesta scoring teams and as an RC balloon owner in 2022. Now, since then, she tells me that she's become a strong advocate for the joy of model balloons. And if you read that article in the September issue that she authored, you will see that joy come right off the pages. She's an advocate for the joy of model balloons as a more accessible entry into the world of ballooning, as well as being as the beginning of the process to become a pilot or a full-sized hot air balloon. My next guest, two possibly, are both world record-holding balloonists, but it's not their piloting expertise that we're calling on them for tonight. One is Dr. Bill Bussey. He is the founder of the Great Texas Balloon Race in Longview, Texas, that has twice hosted the BFA's U.S. National Championships, also the developer of the Young Guns competition to promote younger pilots, entering into competitive ballooning. And we're going to be talking with him about involving model balloons in a big time balloon event. Pat Harwell has not yet been able to join us. He's having some technical issues. No, there he is. Great. Pat Harwell is the founder of the Red River Balloon Rally here in Shreveport, Bossier, Louisiana, where I am. They have also hosted the BFA's U.S. Team Nationals. He also organizes a variety of ballooning events and glows throughout Louisiana and Arkansas, and he is a former director of the Balloon Federation of America. So there is our cast of many for tonight. And yeah, we do have many, and that's a good thing. So let's get things rolling. As I said, we're here to talk about the new, model ballooning, but in particular, its involvement with the BFA. So my first question I'm going to send to you, Karen. What sparked the idea for this new BFA RC model balloon group? What made you, in particular, as one of the leaders of that community, say, yeah, we need to do this?
So I was honored to be able to be a presenter at the BFA convention in March in Ohio. And one of the questions that was asked of me was, what do the RC model balloons need from the BFA and from the full-size balloon community as a whole? And the biggest thing that I've noticed is that we're growing rapidly, and not only rapidly, but vastly. And a lot of balloon events are wanting to pick up the model balloons. And so what I suggested was that we build a connection between the events, the ballooning events, city events, local events, with the model balloon pilots. And so that's where the decision came for us to start the BFA balloon or RC balloon group.
Okay. Bill, let me bring you in here for a moment then. Dr. Bussey, your ballooning event, the Great Texas Balloon Race, beyond, we know, of course, that the model balloons have been involved in Balloon Fiesta, and we've set a world record out there, et cetera, for the past few years. But yours was one of the first events outside of Balloon Fiesta to involve model balloons. What went into making that decision? Why the decision to bring them in?
It's a good question. We're known for being highly competitive. We've been sanctioned every year since it started in 1978. We follow the rules. We start on time on the second, by the way. We have fabulous balloon meisters. We make certain we have good balloon meisters and a good staff. And, we have the balloon glow, and we have an excellent prize package, etc. We call all of those things legs that we stand on. We have other things that we call tweets. Now, a tweet to us is a drone show, a walk-through balloon, a tethered balloon, and a globito. That's what I call them, globitos. And I've got to tell you, when I was on the board, I was not too in favor of the globitos. Well, let me finish here. Was I ever wrong? Okay. These balloons, these globitos, are fascinating. They're fascinating to me as a competitive pilot, and I'm all about competition. But I said, this is a sideshow. We don't need this. Was I ever wrong? Because they were so well received. The public loved them. The children love them. The grandmamas love them. And everybody in between loved them. And especially the sponsors. They really like them because we send them out and at the place of business. And they put on a show. The media loves them. I'm telling you, I was 100% wrong. And I would highly recommend that they attend every event they can.
I certainly hope we're getting this on tape. I don't know, in all the years I've known you, Bill, to hear you say that you were wrong.
I was wrong. Yeah, I was definitely wrong, and I'll admit it. And Karen called and wanted to bring it down. I said, man, we're here for this is serious business. We don't want any play toys. And I was wrong.
That's a great view, as you say.
I look forward to having more of them back.
That's a great view from your standpoint, as you say. The GTBR is a very serious top flight competition, even when it's not hosting the U.S. Nationals. Pat Harwell, on the other hand, is the organizer of the Red River Balloon Rally. That's not to say that we don't do competition here at the Red River Rally, because we do, but it's certainly not on the same level as you see at Great Texas. Why the decision to bring the globitos into Red River, and how exactly did you utilize them for the event, Pat?
Well, we actually saw them out in Albuquerque, and we talked to Karen and a few others. And the next thing you knew, it was like, well, we want to have a competition, and we're trying to find something new. I mean, everybody's seen balloons and they see competitions. So we decided to try to build a small event with the model balloons and then turn it into a competition. Now, right now, we use them in the mornings when the balloons are flying across town. We take these little balloons and they go to a sponsors, and the sponsors just eat it up. They lap up having these things there because it draws attention to their business, and they bring customers in, and everybody has a real good time with them. I mean, I've been impressed. I was not one of the naysayers.
Touche.
Yeah. We follow Great Texas on a lot of things they do. And we have the utmost of respect for those people in that event. But we just jumped out there trying something different to see if we could create something new in Shreveport.
Before we get too deep into this, Ryan, let me come to you on this one. Let's break it down for everybody. I know we've got some great pictures here. Ryan, tell us, what exactly is a model balloon? What counts as a model balloon? And how do these things actually work? Give us a little model ballooning 101, if you would.
Absolutely. So good answer. Came up to me. I was crewing on a full-size system, some student pilots, and the student asked me, what is similar question, what is with these RC model balloons? And I said, it's very similar to the big balloons you're familiar with, and it's also completely different. So they're very similar. It's a propane system, heats the air in the balloon. That's what causes the lift. It's envelope system with a basket system and burner, very similar, but also very different. We've got a remote control system. We control that burning remotely instead of sitting in the basket. Obviously, they don't carry people. In North America, at least, they're tethered all the time. So you definitely have different concerns there with false lift and everything. So they're hot air balloons, and they're also remote control aeronautic systems. So it's similar, but also very different. So definitely it's kind of a interesting category of ballooning, but it is definitely ballooning. Like I said, it's the same basic concepts creating the lift for us as any size of balloon.
I like to refer to them as mini-me's, and some people obviously will get that reference. Carlette, let me bring you into the discussion this evening. This new group that the BFA has put together with the model ballooning community, who is it aimed at? Are we talking about hobbyists? Are we talking about techno geeks? Are we talking about seasoned balloon pilots? Who is the typical model balloonist, and why should they be getting involved with this group?
Well, for me, the typical model balloonist is anyone who loves ballooning. And with the RC balloons, it's easier to be available. It's cheaper and it's fun for both the adults and the kids. So it's really we really want to have anyone join the community that loves ballooning.
So as Bill Bussey was saying earlier, anybody from the kids to the grandmas, right, can get involved?
Yes, anyone who loves ballooning. If you're like we are, and you're hardcore 9 days into ballooning for Balloon Fiesta, and you want to join ballooning, the RCs are the best way to do that, to get started.
Okay, so Karen, what kind of this is a difficult question to ask, I guess, but what's going to be the benefit to RC balloonists to get involved with this group, to become a part of the BFA? What kind of training or safety guidance, et cetera, can the BFA offer to persons like yourselves, like Carlette and Ryan, other RC balloonists? What's the benefit to putting this organization together?
So one of the benefits of joining the BFA model group is that you get the connection. We have put a lot of those how to build, how to connect, where to get your insurance. The model balloon insurance is actually attached to you as a pilot. And so there's lots of different avenues, and we've found a way. We've put them all. There's a RC model balloon page on the BFA website, and there's a lot of information, how-tos that you can utilize directly there. We also have that database that connects the events with pilots. So if you're a pilot looking for events or vice versa, we have one spot for you to go to.
You're a builder, so let me ask you this question. I'm curious, on average, what is the cost then for someone to get into the owning of a system? We know that people can be involved on many levels, just like with the big balloons. You can be a crew person, you can be a photographer, whatever. You don't have to own or fly a balloon. With the RC balloon, with an eye toward owning a system, can you give us some ballpark figures of what it might cost, whether you were to home build your own or buy one from a person like a builder like yourself? What kind of dollars are we talking about?
You're looking anywhere from around, and again, these are all ballpark figures.
Sure.
$3,000 to $10,000. So it's the same as the full size. So you can come in with a solid color, basic system, or if you're building it yourself and you're paying for all the supplies and not paying labor, you can get into model ballooning for about $3,000. On the upper side, if you're looking for digital artwork and the fanciest basket, wicker woven, multiple burners, bigger size, all of that, that's where you're going to tack on all the fun stuff and the extra costs.
I've always told people buying a balloon is like buying a used car. You can get one that was, got black wall tires and an AM radio and roll down windows, or you can get, the Bose stereo and the mag wheels and all of that. And it just depends on how fancy you want it to be as to what the cost level is. I'm assuming it's pretty much the same with regard to model balloons.
Yes, same thing. Even when you're getting into the shapes, those are going to be your upper priced items.
What about regulations? Those of us that fly, or in my case, retired, have flown full-size balloons. The balloons are type certified. They have to go through annual inspections. As a pilot, I have to meet currency requirements and the biennial exams and all of that sort of stuff. What are the regulations? Is there anything in the FARs, the Federal Aviation Regulations, that relate to model ballooning, or is this entirely new? And is it so far self-governing?
So there are some. So we actually fall in this gray area. We're not quite a drone. We're not quite a balloon. We actually fall under the category of kites, which is why we have to fly our balloons tethered, or it voids our insurance. So you'll see all the model balloons flying with the tether, at least here in the United States, for insurance purposes. We tend to follow drone regulations, so we're not going to go higher than 400 feet. But there are no certifications to fly model balloons. So we're seeing kids of all ages and kids at heart, all the way, even retired pilots coming into the sport.
That's interesting. We had that discussion last night over dinner, a few of us locally, and we were discussing, why are they always on tether? Why do you never free fly one? And can you free fly a model balloon? And I had no idea it was a regulation and insurance requirement here in the United States.
Yes. So,
Okay.
so that's the reason we're doing it. You void your insurance.
That's not a good thing. We've got a lot of people that are chiming in with questions and comments, and good to have them doing that. Brenda Kalashaw, a very dear friend of mine, is asking, I think I know the answer to this, but I guess, Karen, I'll throw this at you again, or maybe Ryan and Carlette will know. Who originally started calling them globitos? I'm assuming it goes back to down in Mexico, balloons are called el globos, and a globito, I think, is like a lamb or versus a sheep. It's a baby, isn't it? So isn't that where globitos comes from?
Globitos came when we started Fiesta. That actually came, the name globito. I mean, globito means little balloon.
Okay.
But following under Fiesta, which means party, that's where globitos came. It came through Fiesta when we were starting the first Fiesta, first model balloons globito show in 2021.
Okay. Let me get back to Dr. Bussey and Pat for a moment. You both were very enthusiastic about involving model balloons in your events. Pat, let me come to you first with this. You talked about this year the globitos were sent out to sponsor locations when the big balloons were doing fly-ins, et cetera, in the morning. Has there been discussion with you and your committee about other ways to involve the balloons maybe going forward? Will they have a larger role in the event next year?
Well, I think we're going to grow little by little, but in hopes we would like to have 10 or 15 balloons eventually, and then we'd like to have a competition. We just have some difficulty in figuring out a good, effective way. Now, they do support us in the afternoon glow events as well. They'll be there before the glow, which really captivates the audience. And when they really put on a show for the audience, then the big balloons come in and finish off the show. But it's got a great future in front of it.
Well, talking about competition, let me bring in the number one competitor in our group tonight, Dr. Bussey. You are no stranger to competition, and certainly to unique competitions. You and I had the privilege many years ago of doing a flight of cloud hoppers in Marvel Cave up in Branson, and we created our own underground competitions. So, being the competitive brain that you are, do you see, and with Great Texas being a very competitive event, do you see a competitive way to involve the globitos in your event?
Well, I see a role in them competing amongst themselves, but not with the big balloons.
Sure.
And the way I envisioned one task would be, you put a target on the ground, just a big white X. You put the pilot of the globito upwind, 75 yards, 50 yards, I don't know, depends on the wind speed. The balloon is on a tether. They must go up to an altitude of 30 feet, the basket, and we'll have that marked. And then the pilot moves from right to left until they think they're directly over the target. And then we have a mechanism, they pull a cord, and it will drop a regular marker through a drop tube, and the closest one to the X wins. They win a prize money.
Okay.
That's my idea of how you can start one task,
Sort of a tethered gravity drop sort of competition, it sounds like.
Exactly. It is a gravity drop.
Yeah, okay.
And so the pilot knows where the tube is located on the basket. Their crew chief can be down there and tell them when to drop it if they want to. And, the closest one, they're going to miss and they're going to hit it, and it's going to be competitive. That's my idea. I don't know.
All right. Sounds like fun to me. Karen.
Yeah, if I could
sorry,
just
go ahead.
add a little bit more about,
yes, go ahead, Ron.
Competitions. That brings up a great point, kind of tying back to what I was talking about earlier, how they're very much like big balloons, but also different. And in the competition realm, that comes into play a lot. We don't have people in the baskets with their hand to easily drop a marker. So, that's a great instance. You need to come up with some other mechanism for dropping markers if you're going to do marker competitions. And I think that's a potential area where this BFA group can be a real asset to the community, is to create competitions and create kind of competition standards. So we'll be able to have competitions maybe here in Albuquerque, in Shreveport, Longview, and there'll be similar setups of competitions so that we can even maybe potentially work up to having competition circuits and a national champion RC or Globito pilot championship. I think that's kind of a goal for the BFA in the Globitos.
Yes, well, it's a goal for us.
Yeah, it's a personal goal as well. It's definitely.
Yeah, excellent. I see a couple of national champion hopefuls in the crowd already. Carlette, what's the makeup of the RC ballooning group now? We've talked about it's open to anyone, but it is, as we've said, it's the fastest growing segment of the sport of ballooning right now. It's really taken off in the U.S. Surprisingly, it was well established in Europe for a number of years. I can remember reading articles about model ballooning events that are events exclusively for model balloons over in Germany and elsewhere. But are most of those that are coming into the sport today, are we talking about full-size balloon pilots who are doing this as a post-flight activity or a fun activity to do in smaller groups? Are they new people coming into the sport that are literally entering the sport of ballooning through the RC group? What's kind of the makeup of the group as it exists today?
Well, right now we have a group of former pilots, or um, the wife of a pilot. Sorry, Karen, I had to do it.
No.
And kids of pilots, wives of pilots. Some people are just coming in. Some of our sponsors, they're like, "Oh, this is fun. I want to buy my own balloon." Like JW,
City of Carlsbad,
City of
New Mexico.
Carlsbad, they have a balloon. So it really varies. But I know that it is kids and kids at heart. And right now, the kids at heart are the ones that can afford it. So they're the majority of the ones that are participating. And again, like it's former pilots, former crew people, or people who are currently crewing for a full-size system. So it varies. Like for me, I was brand new. Like this is my first time flying any sort of thing, including a kite. I don't.
You just touched on something though that I had not thought about earlier. We've talked about model balloons flying at events. We've talked about them finding a way to compete. You talked about corporate, and certainly corporate ballooning, it has been a big part of full-size ballooning for ages. We're all familiar with, the Holiday Inn, the Arby's, the all of a sudden none of them come to mind, and there's dozens of them out there. But we're all familiar with corporate balloons that go around the country doing corporate promotions, et cetera, et cetera. I would think that there could be a great benefit to a company, for example, off the top of my head, a Whataburger, that you could have a Whataburger model balloon, and that pilot and that balloon could go around from location to location to location throughout, the nation, doing on-site promotions in parking lots at the restaurants and that sort of thing. Yes. Beyond just participating in ballooning events, that there could in fact be a way to make a living doing this. Is there a segment of model ballooning that's looking at corporate operations?
Yes, we are.
Yeah.
But also the RC balloons can get in places that the large balloons cannot. Like for example, our Full Street event, the full size balloons can't fit there. So we were there, and we brought our love of ballooning to that community, which is going to bring that community into ballooning. That's my goal, and I'm always running up to pilots. Like I talked with, I think his name is Luke from the POW. An MIA balloon, because I feel like I reach out. You should get an RC balloon, because if you want to not advertise, but show your balloon and show your organization. You can do that in an event where the full size balloons cannot make it, or they can't fit.
Yeah, it could go indoors at a convention or anything like that.
Yes, I'm always trying to pull them in.
Yeah, and definitely there are some of the kind of somewhat traditional, but not exactly as far as scale. Definitely here in New Mexico, Las Cruces and Carlsbad both have RC balloons, so they're kind of matches their budget better for those smaller cities compared to like Albuquerque has a full size balloon. I think they have multiple full size balloons actually, but for smaller cities to advertise and for smaller companies and so forth, I think that's definitely a great sweet spot. And they have some advantages on the commercial aspect. If you have an event, it's kind of easier to have the RC stay at your location, where the car dealership or whatnot, and that draws people to that event that you have at that location, as opposed to full size. That balloon is built to fly away. So, you can tie them down, keep them there, but it's a bit more of a hassle, and wind is more of a concern and so forth. And certain spaces, it's interesting you mentioned Whataburger. I can't remember if we were in Shreveport or Longview, but one of them we flew our balloon out of Whataburger.
It was
they were sponsoring the event, and we flew in front of the Whataburger, and they brought crowds in, and that was a great synergy moment between them as a sponsor for the event and us being the balloon for the event, and kind of being that advertising and commercial bridge as an RC. And the space that they had available, you couldn't put a cloud hopper in even. It was definitely a perfect situation for an RC balloon.
I can see where, in my mind, the idea is coming to me now, where the RC balloon is almost taking over the role of what used to be the traditional cold air inflatable, like at car dealerships, retail establishments, as an attention grabber. So I'm sure we'll see more development in that area. But Karen, I wanted to get back to you real quickly. We talked about bringing Globitos into established balloon events, but you guys are doing event organizing and creating of your own. I mean, I know I've seen promotional things and some Facebook, social media stuff about events that are exclusively for Globitos. Tell me a little bit about that.
Yes. So specifically this year, we did the Route 66 Glow during Fiesta. It was the first ever free Fiesta event where we were set to have 66 Globitos on Route 66. That event was phenomenal. The city of Los Ranchos is very excited, and they're already looking to have a Christmas event and bring us back next year. We've done some more headliners. You were talking commercial stuff with Savannah Bananas, if you're familiar with it. We flew in the game ball for Drew Gillespie, who's from Albuquerque, when he was pitching here for Savannah Bananas. We've done a bunch of stuff. There was a model balloon for Guinness for the Green River one year, just a whole bunch of fun stuff. Not only that, just community involvement where we're going out into the community and sharing the joy. In Longview, we inflated at the mall, and we had people stopping and kids coming out of minivans and just coming up to us and wanting to enjoy the joy of balloons. And so we've just been doing that all over with different groups, different communities, even kids, and allowing them to go inside the balloon and seeing it from the outside and then going inside and giving them an example of, 1 cubic foot is a basketball, make a circle in front of your hands. And this is one. Now we can fit 3,000 of those inside. Yeah, there you go. So exactly. And then they go inside and we ask them the question, is this bigger or smaller than you thought it was? So using them for an education tool as well.
For the Doctor Who fans that are maybe viewing, I'm reminded of the line, it's bigger on the inside, and some will get that reference and some won't. But you're talking about size. There's a great question here. Mike, who's watching tonight, I'm not going to try the last name because I'm sure I'll mispronounce it. But he's asking, is there a maximum size limit for the envelopes on model balloons? That's a great question. Karen, or one of you model balloonists jump on that. I don't care which.
I'll give my answer, and then I'll let Ryan and Carlette take a stab. I don't think there's a limit until you get to hopper size. The biggest one that I know of round is 7,500, which is the one that's on Ryan's shirt. He owns a big model balloon there. And then we go into the shapes world.
Right here.
Okay. That's the biggest one so far in the world. Okay. Yes. Good to know. Right. Another great question. Brenda Kalishaw was asking, what's the highest any of you have flown your RC balloon, and is there a limit? We were talking about, I think you said earlier, Karen, you don't go above 400 feet because of the drone regulation. So is that your altitude cap?
Typically, that's my personal cap when we're doing events. We're not typically flying any higher than 25 or 50 feet because we want to keep them low so people can see them and see the baskets and how they work. There are opportunities for records. I would say all of them are held in Europe right now. There's some fun stuff in the works trying to bring some of those records back stateside. Hopefully we can accomplish that within the next year. But as far as height, altitude, as long as your tether allows you.
Are those records FAI
yes.
ballooning records or Guinness type records, or both?
FAI, I don't know if there's Guinness. If that's a new rabbit hole for me to go down.
Okay. We're getting near the time to wrap up. I don't want to leave without saying the obvious question. We're talking about this group the BFA has started. We've talked a lot about the community. Carlette, if somebody's watching this tonight and thinking, wow, this sounds like a lot of fun, I'd really like to get involved in this, but I don't have a clue. How do I get started? Where do you go to find? I mean, obviously you can go to the BFA now and find out more information. But beyond that, how does one get in touch with the existing RC model ballooning community? And before you answer that, here's my other question. Is it RC balloons? Is it remote control balloons? Is it radio control balloons? Is it model balloons? What's the preference? What do we call these damn things? Beyond Globitos.
Well, we call them RC balloons, or Globitos.
Okay.
So that's what we generally call them. I think the BFA wanted them to be model. So that's where that came.
Oh,
That's
wow.
where that came into to play. And I don't care either way as long as I get to fly my balloon. You can call it whatever you want to.
Okay, fair enough.
As-
Then how do you get it? How do you get involved? How do you open that door, make that first contact?
The good part of the BFA starting the model balloon group is so that people can reach out, because right now it's just word of mouth. We're flying our balloon, someone comes up and asks questions, and then we have answers. Now, I hand out cards. I direct people to Karen, because I'm very dedicated to getting more people into ballooning in general, especially the kids. So right now it's just word of mouth, unfortunately. But with the BFA, hopefully we can change that and make it easier for people to get involved in RC ballooning.
Outstanding. Let me say thank you to all of you, to Ryan, to Carlette, to Karen, to Dr. Bussey, to Pat, for being here with us tonight. We hope this discussion about model ballooning, RC ballooning, has been both entertaining and in some cases laugh out loud fun. I don't know. But it is a very rapidly growing segment of the ballooning community, one that I, for one, have been promoting to the BFA for a number of years. And as I say, we've been writing about them in Ballooning Magazine since 2020. So I'm loving to see this new community beginning to grow and come on board and be a part of the BFA. These podcasts are all about what you want to know about with what's going on inside the BFA. At any time, you're welcome to contact any member of the board of directors or myself. If you have a subject you'd like to see us discuss, then by all means, do please get in touch. Thank you for the comments. In the group tonight, I'm just reading. One commenter says, says, I put a note on the Facebook group looking for someone to help me convert on my dad's indoor ballooning to an RC. Okay. Oh, that's Donna Wiedeker. Hi, Donna. Glad to see that she's joining us. So yeah, lots of things to be going on. It's an exciting new group and great to have it become a part of the BFA. And again, anytime that you have a suggestion for a subject you'd like for us to address on this podcast, please get in touch with any of us that are involved. And we look forward to seeing you again next month. Thank you for tuning in tonight. Hope you've enjoyed the discussion. The holidays are coming up. Everyone, please stay safe, fly safe, and we will see you again soon on the next edition of Inside the BFA. Good night, everybody.
Thank you for viewing this episode of Inside the BFA. Membership in the Balloon Federation of America is your entry into the sport of ballooning, whether you're a pilot, crew, or an enthusiast. Everyone is welcome inside the BFA. For more information, see our website at www.bfa.net.